What's going on? What's going on? It's your man Diamond K in here, of course, the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com. Sad news to report. Any loss of life, obviously, is a sad thing. Today, Baltimore police fatally shoot an armed suspect in West Baltimore. So the suspect had a knife, wielding a knife Sunday afternoon, according to Baltimore Police Commissioner Michael Harrison. At approximately 3:40, officers responded to a call for a man armed with a knife assaulting a woman on the ground near the intersection of Lafayette Avenue and Fulton Avenue. And a lot of videos floating around online. Police have not released the name of the suspect. There is, the streets get things first, right? There is a name floating around of a well-known person throughout the city. The name has not officially been released. Of course, the internet, the digital streets, and the regular streets are revealing the name. We're not going to talk about the person specifically until the name has been revealed. Obviously, they have to notify next of kin and other things like that. So we want to not talk about the actual name, and hopefully it will come out tomorrow. They'll make an official release of the name tomorrow or sometime soon. And then when they do that, then we'll actually get into the person and their journey and all that kind of stuff. If reports ring true, this is someone who's been to our studios before and spoke on our airwaves and everything. So we're going to talk about that. Let's do this. Let's listen to Baltimore Police Commissioner Michael Harrison and Mayor Brandon Scott talk about this situation, and then we'll come back and talk about that.
I am joined tonight by Mayor Brandon Scott, our City Administrator, Mr. Chris Shorter, our Consent Decree Monitor, Ken Thompson, and my Deputy Commissioner of Public Integrity Bureau, Brian Nadeau. This afternoon at around 3:39 p.m., Western District officers were dispatched to the intersection of Fulton and Lafayette on a call of an armed male suspect assaulting a female who was on the ground. He was armed with a knife. Upon the officer's arrival, well, I should say, we have now just watched multiple video, body cam video and cell phone video, where we have seen multiple angles of this incident. What I can tell you, what we just saw was as the officers arrived, the driver of the vehicle exited the vehicle as he called for extra officers to come. And he approached the suspect, ordered the suspect to the ground, who then placed himself what appears to be on top of the female while armed with a very large knife. The officer began to discharge his firearm at the suspect, who rolled over and disengaged from the female, still armed with the knife. As the officers rendered the scene safe by removing the knife, the officers then began to render medical attention to this suspect, who was transported to a local hospital by a paramedic, where he later was pronounced dead from his injuries. Certainly, in all police-involved shootings, we are represented by the state's attorney's office, who was on the scene. Members of the Attorney General, by state law, are working jointly with our Special Investigation Response Team on this investigation. Our Consent Decree Monitor was here to monitor all activity and will certainly report to the court on today's activity. And as per our departmental critical incident body cam footage release policy, which will be in effect as of this moment, it's just a matter of time per our policy that you, the citizens, will see what we just saw tonight. And so this is a police-involved shooting. It's still very early in the investigation. What we can say is that the female was not critically injured and was not stabbed by this suspect, but the suspect did expire and was pronounced from his injuries. And so this is an internal investigation. The officers involved are at police headquarters at this time. They have not been interviewed. But what we know right now is based on all of us here having seen multiple videos of this incident. And so at this time, I will turn it over to our mayor, and then we'll take a few questions.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. First and foremost, listen, no one wants to stand here and have any loss of life. But as we know, this is under investigation. I won't go into too many details. But assaulting anyone with having a dangerous weapon, a knife, let alone a woman, is something that we cannot have in our city. We are thankful that further people were not injured, that young woman or any other individuals that were around there. Thankful that none of our police officers were injured, and that they acted quickly to come to the aid of this woman who was clearly in distress, and did it very quickly. We could be talking here tonight about a woman that has lost her life as well, but we're not, because of the actions that they took quickly. And we will continue to go through and adhere to all the regulations with the investigation, but we cannot have folks assaulting women in the middle of the street in daylight in Baltimore City. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, this is a very fluid, still very active investigation. Crime scene analysts are behind us, still processing the scene, and we're still looking for answers as to why. So what we gave you is based on what we have seen through multiple videos. And at this time, I'll take a few questions.
Cassidy, we'll start here and we'll make our way around.
Okay. Can you confirm the name of the victim?
We cannot. We're not releasing any names of any victims. What I should say, the person that has expired is the perpetrator of the assault. The victim, the female, is in what I would call good condition.
And was the woman also shot?
She was not shot. This was not a matter of a shooting. She was not shot by the police. No, she was not stabbed by the perpetrator, nor was she shot by the officer.
Question?
And how many officers fired their weapons?
What we saw was one, but two officers are involved.
Right here.
How many times was he shot?
That is unknown. The medical examiner might be able to give us that information. We know the officer fired multiple times. It is unknown how many times the suspect was struck.
Right here. Nothing. Tommy?
I just have a couple quick questions. First of all, we did see a video on social media that's circulating, appears to be the incident. I know you can't answer this yet, but I have to ask you, it appears there were at least 13 shots fired. Can you comment at all on that conduct, if that is something that should be happening, 13 shots?
Well, I can't comment on that because what I can say is that it's under investigation. The investigation will produce a finding. And so it would be improper and inappropriate for me to comment on that. What I can tell you is that the officer was exiting his vehicle. What we saw is that he observed what he believed was a person in distress, responded to it, and began to fire his weapon. And we know that he fired multiple times.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you all.
Yes, what we just saw was Police Commissioner Michael Harrison and Mayor Brandon Scott tried to craft the story that they want to tell, to try to make it seem like the officer. Now, we're not going to show the video that's circulating online, but if a simple search, you'll be able to see that video. And the officer pulls up immediately and just unloads his weapon. I mean, it was a terrible thing to see. Now, why didn't he tase? I mean, you know, the woman involved in this situation was not stabbed, was not shot, but the brazen nature that the police shot, anybody could have been shot, right? The police, the woman who they claimed to be protecting, she could have been shot. They unloaded, right? You can see they unloaded on the suspect. Now, I really can't see how that conduct can be explained and justified when we are under a consent decree, right? Like, I can't wait to see this body camera footage, because what the police commissioner is trying to get us to believe is like, and the mayor even, you know, there was their actions, they protected. What did they protect? What did they protect? Facebook user is saying that they shoot to kill, no defuse. Right. There was no diffusing attempt. There was no nothing. They pulled up and they saw what they saw and they just unloaded the weapon. And then after he's clearly been, he on the ground, hit multiple times, they're still shooting. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. I cannot wait to see this body camera footage. Cannot wait to see this body camera footage. Of course, police have not released the name yet. There is a name that has been floating around social media. I don't want to get into the name right now until it's been officially released. I want to try to be responsible in this situation. Of course, people, like I said, talking about it online. And if the reports are true, this is someone who was a friend of the station and someone that we know and has made multiple appearances on several shows here as a guest. But when they officially release the name, then we'll get deeper into that. But if you've had a chance to check out the cell phone footage, there's multiple cell phone footage. And from everything that I have seen, police rolled up, got out the car, and just started shooting like this was the Wild Wild West. Like this was the Wild Wild West. There was no, where's all this training that they're supposed to have? Right? When you have a hostage situation, they don't just roll up and just start shooting. In this instance, they just rolled up and just let loose multiple times. Now, when you heard the commissioner talking about it, he was just so casual. Oh, yeah, he just rolled up and discharged his weapon. Like the way he talks about it, you wouldn't think that you saw what we have seen from multiple cell phone citizens. Just very disturbing. Now, and keep in mind that the lady was not stabbed, was not shot by the police. So what was the why again was he killed? He was killed because he had a knife. Did he lunge at the officer? We need to see that. I'd like to see some footage showing that the officer felt that he was in danger. And the mayor talking about Baltimore cannot be the type of city that has women attacked on the street. Okay. Was this woman attacked? They were having some type of a dispute, but clearly she was not hurt. So did the officer overreact? From what I've seen, things point to that. When they gave their press conference, they hadn't even talked to the officer yet. Officer hadn't been interviewed yet, but they were able to make all these determinations. But when you ask them some real questions, talking about the conduct of the officer, letting the clip loose. Now, the suspect did not have a gun. He had a knife. And this is the policing. This is the officer. Was his life in danger? I don't know. What's going to be the excuse? I can't wait to hear it. And I'm sure that they're going to try to come up with something, obviously. But the mayor, Brandon Scott, and the police commissioner giving this, press conference that I'm just not comfortable with. And of course, all of the details have not come out. Of course, I don't condone any type of violence of a man with a knife threatening a woman, threatening anybody. I don't condone it at all. But me as a civilian, if I rolled up on that, I'm not just instantly just going to just start shooting. That reckless endangerment. Just anybody could have been hit. There were people outside. There were a lot of people outside. That officer could have shot someone else. And I guess they would have blamed that on the knife-wielding suspect as well. A lot of questions. More questions than we actually have answers. Of course, we'll be here tomorrow, 6 p.m. for the Diamond K Show, and hopefully we will have more information to get into about that. Hopefully they will have officially release the name of the suspect that was killed by Baltimore City Police today. And then we can really dive in to talk about that. I don't want to get into the name when all the family may not know and a whole conglomeration of things. So we'll talk about the name of the reported name of the suspect that was killed by Baltimore City Police today in West Baltimore. We'll get into that. Hopefully tomorrow they will officially release that name, and then we can talk about that. Join me tomorrow at 6 p.m. on fire-tv.com, on fire-tv.com.